Good day, everyone. I am Leonora Bartolome, an OHS officer. I am here to talk about administrative penalty. What is administrative penalty? It is a monetary penalty issued by Alberta Occupational Health and Safety for non-compliance with OHS legislation. The purpose of administrative penalties is to discourage infractions of workplace safety regulations and promote greater adherence to them. Your monetary value of fine, according to Part 1, General Code, Section 3, Subsection 2, you as an employer fail to ensure your worker to use or wear required equipment or personal protective equipment, you must pay a $500 fine as a violation. After I inspected your worksite, I issued administrative penalties of 10 tickets against Section 12, Subsection 2 of the Alberta OHS regulation. After I found out 10 separate workers working in an extremely high noise environment, which is greater than 90 decibels with no hearing protections, because we need hearing protection when we expose to more than 85 decibels. Um, you will pay $500 each of your workers times 10 is equal to $5,000 plus 20% surcharge. A 20% surcharge is applied to each ticket with a total of $1,000. So the total monetary value fine that you need to pay is $6,000. If you fail to comply, your maximum daily amount is $10,000 and the total amount of the penalty cannot exceed $100,000. According to Part 16 of OHS Code, a noise control design, you as an employer are required by Section 217 to make sure that a newly constructed or rebuilt work areas, new work procedures, or newly installed equipment attain a noise level of 85 decibel or as low as is practically possible. A worker exposure to noise. You as an employer must ensure that a worker exposure to noise at a work site does not exceed the noise exposure limit in Schedule 3. If the level of noise is 91 decibels, the exposure duration is only 2 hours and 85 decibels for maximum of 8 hours exposure. Noise exposure assessment. If workers are or may be exposed to noise at a work site that is louder than 85 decibels, Section 219 requires employers to conduct a noise exposure assessment, LEX, and LEX measurements average a worker's overall workday noise exposure and modifies it to an exposure of 8 hours work. Noise measurement must be done in compliance with the noise measuring standards from the Canadian Standard Association. Your responsibilities as an employer, you must ensure your workers have necessary skills, training, provide competent supervisor. You must prevent workplace from violence, inform workers about health and safety hazards, establish safe work practices, provide safety equipment, label and store chemicals correctly. You must investigate injuries, work with health committees, and meet OHS and employment standard code requirements. OHS officer duties, conducting inspection and investigations, issuing orders, writing tickets, issuing administrative penalties, according to Part 7 of Section 34, Section 1, For the purpose of this act, an officer can enter or inspect a worksite at any reasonable hour without a warrant except for private residential property. Conclusion: it is possible to create a safe and healthy atmosphere by following the laws and regulations. Just pay for the violation, stop pointing out who's at fault, risk can be reduced, and everyone's safety at work can be considered. The goal of having no workplace diseases or injuries is ultimately the joint responsibility of the employer and employees.